केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. प्रतिबोधितां भगवतां नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिनां मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्बत्वा मनुसन्ददामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्. Welcome you all with my love and respects. Fourth chapter of the Gita starts with a beautiful sloka. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanahamavyayam vivasvan manave praham manurikshvagamapravit. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanahamavyayam vivasvan manave praham manurikshvagavipravit. The translation goes, Lord Sri Krishna says, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ishvagu. We need to understand, Krishna is just 32-year-old when he gives this statement. He is just 32-year-old. Physically, his body is only 32-year-old. But he says, I gave this knowledge to Surya, to sun god. Of course, very difficult to understand. With logic, you cannot understand this statement. With ordinary logic, which you are using in your daily life, you cannot make any meaning out of this statement. And he goes on. The next statement says, Evam parampara praptamimam rajarshayo viduhu sakale nega mahata yogo nashtaparantapaha. The supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it appears to be lost. The science as it is appears to be lost. These two slokas should be understood. First thing, the truth is not new. It is eternal. It is neither new nor old. It is eternal. Eternal means it is there forever. It never becomes old. It is never new. Eternal means beyond time. Anything which can be described based on the time, only those things can be said as new or old. Anything new will become old one day. Anything old was new at some day. Eternal means it is beyond new and old. It is there from time immemorial, but it has never become old. That is what meant by the word eternal. Here, the science of enlightenment is eternal, Nithya. It is neither new nor old. The science which we learnt yesterday, or the science which he is going to explain further. Yesterday he gave the first glimpse, the first thing to be understood. That's the first glimpse. First glimpse. If you allow those words to penetrate you, if you open yourself to those words, straight away those words can give you the first glimpse of enlightenment. They can lead you to the first step of ultimate liberation. Understanding the purposelessness of life, all the stress, pressure, load, whether it is physical or mental, will be taken away from your being. You are liberated in that same moment. Krishna doesn't give you any technique which will work in course of time. In course of time. There are techniques which works in course of time. You will continue to practice. Maybe your son or your grandson will have the result. No. He says, now here or nowhere. Whether you have the result now here or nowhere. All his techniques straight away gives you the experience. If you can allow that one idea of purposelessness, the beauty of purposelessness into your consciousness, in that very moment, the breeze of enlightenment will happen to your heart. That very moment, the healing of your being will start. Healing of Bhavaroga, healing of the samsara roga, the birth and death disease will start its process. He says, 5,000 years ago, I gave this science to Surya, to the sun god, and the sun god instructed to Vivaswan, and sun god instructed to Manu. Sun god is Vivaswan. He instructed to Manu. Manu instructed the same thing to Ishwagu. He gives the disciplic succession. He gives that parampara, that Guru Sishya parampara. In course of time, yogo nashta parantava. This science is lost. You should understand why this science is lost. When a disciple who listens, if he is not sincere, if he is not completely ready, naturally the technique becomes ritual. Understand, there is only one difference between technique and ritual. When it is done sincerely, even ordinary ritual will become a great meditation technique which leads you to enlightenment. When it is done without sincerity, as a routine, without understanding, as a routine, even a meditation technique will become a ritual. The only difference between meditation technique and ritual is sincerity, nothing else. It is just the sincerity. In course of time, the science is lost. Here is a beautiful word. The supreme science was taught, the supreme science was delivered. It doesn't, you don't lose that supreme science just in one generation. In one generation, it never gets lost. In course of time, somebody or other, even a single unenlightened disciple is enough to destroy the whole science. Even a single person in that chain is enough to break the disciplic succession. Small story in Zen Buddhism. A disciple of a great master, he is sitting and talking about Zen to his followers. One enlightened master comes to him and asks, "You yourself have not become enlightened. What right you have to teach Zen?" This disciple, out of ego, the big problem is when your master creates a big movement, and if you come to his seat without having the qualification, you are the most dangerous person. I have seen the people who just come into the throne as a successor, they are the most dangerous people. They will have everything except enlightenment. Person who creates a movement, he will create only out of energy and enlightenment. If he doesn't have, no movement will be created around him. But the person who succeeds, for him, it's just a gift. The whole movement is gift. He has got a complete infrastructure set up, but it doesn't have anything to share. Person who writes just because he is a writer is a dangerous person. Person who writes because he has got something to write, that's okay. Only he can be called as writer. Small story. One guy said, "Only after writing 5 bestsellers, I realized I don't know anything." Friend asked, "Then did you stop writing?" "No, by then I have become too famous, I can't stop." When you get somebody's throne as a successor, they will be filled with ego. They have everything except enlightenment. I always tell people, never go to the successors, because the whole setup is created by somebody and they just represent. They don't have something from their experience. They are good librarians, but not masters. We must be very clear between the difference between librarians and masters. Librarians are good. They preserve the books, but they can only preserve the books, not more than that. This person is also a good librarian, good parrot, he can repeat the whole thing. He's out of ego, says, don't you know I am the disciple of that great master? This Zen master laughs. He just laughs and says, if you wash the cup in which you kept the tea, will that water have the same taste of the tea? Can you say the water which is used to wash the cup in which the tea is kept is equivalent to tea? How much of relationship will be there between the tea and the water which is used to wash the cup of the tea? For example, in one cup tea is there, in the other cup, the empty tea cup has been washed, that water is kept. What will be the relationship between the cup of the tea and the water which is used to wash the cup of the tea? There will be no relationship. Hardly you may have the smell of the tea in the water. So, if a person is not enlightened and just a successor, he will be dangerous. He will be dangerous. He will carry just the book, not the knowledge. That is why the Zen masters, they always destroy their books when they leave the body. Before they leave the body, they destroy the books. They say, if you have got the Zen in your life, if you have achieved the enlightenment, let you teach, otherwise keep quiet. At least you will not disturb the society. At least you will not create more trouble in the society. When you do something, if you are a successor without experience, you are the most dangerous person. A small story. In South India, there was a big mutt, or the traditional monastery, where every day the worship of Shiva is conducted. That master had a pet cat. He used to love animals, so he had a cat with him. The cat is so near to him, it will come and disturb when he does puja. When he does puja, it will come and jump on him, it will run around him. So he told his disciples, just cover the cat with a basket before I start the puja. They caught the cat, covered the cat with a basket, the puja started. Every day before he starts the puja, they will catch the cat, it will be covered with the basket, the puja will start, the worship will start. After some time, it has almost become a ritual. Before starting the puja, even if the cat is not inside the ashram, they started searching the cat. Even if the cat has gone outside for its walk, they go search the cat, they catch the cat and bring it and cover it and start the puja. After covering the cat, they start the puja. In course of time, the master passed away. He passed away. Now the disciples are in a very big trouble. What to do? Who will do the puja? Next puja. Anyhow, the next successor came. Because master passed away, the cat also ran away from the ashram, monastery. The cat did not get a good treatment, so it ran away. The next successor, before starting the puja, he called the disciples. What happened to the cat? Unless you get a cat, how can we start the puja? They went in search of a cat all over the city. Finally, somehow they got one cat, brought the cat, covered it with a basket, then puja started. After a few months, it has become very difficult to catch cats. Where to get the cats? And they said, Master, it is very difficult. It is very difficult to get cats. Please, you all do something. The disciple said, all right, if there is no cat, then how can I do puja? Let us stop the puja. In course of the time, finally, because there is no cat, they stopped the puja. If you are not enlightened, this is what happens. If a disciple is not enlightened, this is what happens. The truth is lost. The spirit is lost. If you want to destroy any law, all you need to do is just follow the letter, miss the spirit. That's enough. If you just follow the letter, forget about the spirit, that's enough. You will do exactly opposite to the law. What for the law is created, you will just go against it. In course of time, the people who have not become enlightened, who are not sincere, they entered into this field and corrupted the science. Because of that, the science has lost. That is why again and again and again our Upanishad insists, go to a living master. All our books are only manuals. Vedas are the only books which are courageous enough to declare, we cannot give you enlightenment. Vedas are the only books which are courageous enough to declare, we are not ultimate. They say very clearly, we are only the manuals. If you want the ultimate reference, go to a living master. All the medical books, in the end what they will say? Consult your family doctor. They will end with one line. All these things are only manuals. You can't take medicines just by reading a medical book. You can't take medicines from a person who is not a doctor. In India, compounders, the doctor's assistants, by and by after some time, they learn the trick of the trade. By now they know headache means yellow tablet, stomach pain, green tablet, and back pain, black tablet. They know the color of the tablet for particular disease. If you go and take medicine from compounder, sometime you may get healed, you may get the cure, but it is very dangerous. It is very dangerous. Taking medicine from compounder, learning from unenlightened master is one and the same. Going to unenlightened person and taking medicine from compounder is one and the same. Please be very clear. Compounder at the most, he may destroy your one body, your one life, but unenlightened master will destroy your lives after lives. He can destroy, misguide you. He can create trouble for lives after lives. Because even a single point, if it is lost, if you have missed, the whole thing is lost. Here Krishna says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakale neha mahata yogo nashtaparantapaha. One important thing, he says rajarshayo viduhu. This science is given to Raja Rishis, not just to the Rishis. The science which he teaches, yesterday if you would have attended, you know, the science is quantum spirituality, which gives you the material world and spiritual world both. That is why he says Rajarshayo Viduhu. Just Rishi means he will emphasize only on the inner world, inner space. Just king means he will emphasize only on the outer world, wealth. Here he says Rajarshayo Viduhu. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu. The science is delivered to the king enlightened masters who are kings, only they can preserve the science as it is. Be very clear. Only an enlightened person who is king, or king who is enlightened person, can know the totality of spirituality. People again and again ask me, Swamiji, what should we do for poor? Give food and medicine for poor. Serve them. But only a rich man can understand spirituality. Be very clear, I am telling the honest truth. Poor man can understand religion. He can go and beg in front of God, but he can never understand the ultimate spirituality. Only a person who has seen the outer world completely, who knows there is nothing in the outer world, only he can enter into the inner world. Only he can enter into the inner space. If you still have hope about the outer world, you cannot experience the ultimate spirituality. You cannot experience the ultimate enlightenment. Only a king will be utterly frustrated. Only a king will be completely qualified to enter into enlightenment, because he knows there is nothing in the outer space which can fulfill him. He has seen everything. He has seen all possible comforts, all possible sense enjoyments, all possible so-called pleasures. Only he can enter into the spirituality honestly. If somebody who has not experienced the depression of success enters into spirituality, again he will be standing in front of God and begging, God, give me this, give me that. He may be a good religious person. From morning till night he will sit and do all the rituals, but he will never be a spiritual person. There is a very big difference between religious person and spiritual person. When you know God has got Shakti to give whatever you want, your religion starts. When you understand He has got Shakti to give what I want and Buddhi to when to give, you enter into spirituality. We all believe God has got Shakti to give what we want, but we don't trust He has got Buddhi also to give in the right time. We don't believe that. Only a person who has got Shakti, who trusts that God has got Shakti and Buddhi, can enter into the spirituality. Spirituality is ultimate luxury. Please be very clear. Being a spiritual person, that is why I always tell people, person who is poor means who has not experienced the comforts of the outer world. He can be a good religious person. He can stand in front of God and beg, pray. But only a person who has seen the outer world to the extreme, who is completely frustrated, completely experienced the depression of success, can turn towards the inner world, can become a healer. I always tell people, the person who understands the purposelessness of life, only he can heal himself and heal others. Only he can be a healer. Only he can be a spiritual person. Only he can be a real spiritual being. So here, Krishna uses the word Rajarshi. The person who has got inner space and outer space both. Only he can experience the truth of the totality. Of course, when some person who don't know or who is not sincere enough to realize this truth, when he enters into the system, he corrupts and his very presence destroys the system. So Krishna says, in course of time, it is lost. The next, Krishna says, Sayevayam mayaditye yoga prokta puradanaha bhaktosi me sagasedi ragasyam hedaduttamam. Beautiful sloka. Sayevayam mayaditya yoga prokta puradanaha bhaktosi me sagasedi ragasyam hedaduttamam. He says that very ancient science of the ultimate enlightenment or the entering into eternal bliss is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. This has to be understood very deeply. You cannot tell this truth, ultimate truth, to a person who is not ready. To a person who is not ready. And truth told to a person who is not ready will create danger for himself and will disturb others also. Again and again, people ask me in our meditation programs. In many of our meditation programs, people ask me, Swamiji, please talk about your enlightenment. Talk about your spiritual experience. I never open my mouth. I'll never speak about my personal experience, spiritual experience, unless I know them or unless they are connected to me at least 6 months. I wait. People ask me, why don't you talk about this, Swamiji? Why don't you tell us about your spiritual experience? This is the reason. When you are not ready, if intimate experiences are shared, always we doubt two things. If you have courage, you will straight away question the experience. You will straight away question. You will say, this is just lie. This is a story. What are you talking? This cannot be truth. You will straight away oppose. If you don't have that much of courage, you will just take it, all right, one more story. I heard 1000 stories here. One more story, leave it. Anyhow, after all, it is free. There is nothing else will happen. The spiritual experiences cannot be shared and cannot be opened just for nothing. If it is shared, it should become an inspiration source for you. It should become a force which can transform your life. Then it is worth sharing. By sharing that spiritual experience, if it inspires you to enter into that same space, if it gives you the courage to take the same jump, if you also feel, I think I should experience the same joy, I should experience the same bliss, I should not postpone it. If it becomes an inspiration source for you, then it is worth sharing. Otherwise, it is not worth sharing. There was a great master in South India. He wrote a set of poems on Shiva. He did not even write, he just sang. He just sang a set of poems on Shiva. It was never recorded in writing. close disciples who lived around him, they requested him to publish that book. Publish it as a book or to put it in writing so that it can be useful for the society. He says, no, they are my intimate love letters to Lord. How can I publish this to the public? It is my intimate expression. It is my intimacy. It is my personal relationship. How can I publish it? How can I bring it out to the public? For example, you are seeing somebody for the first time. If he straight away starts asking you the personal questions, it will be too rude. It will be too rude. And Indians are the only people who will do that mistake. It will be too rude. They don't bother to introduce themselves. They don't bother to understand. They will be straight. If they ask straight away personal questions, I heard somebody met my disciple and he straight away started asking, where are you staying? Who is paying for your apartment? And what is happening? Who is staying with you? And who are all staying with Swami? I was just surprised. How can this happen? How can this happen? I don't think any intelligent man will do this. It takes little intelligence to understand. When you straight away, you can't talk, you can't ask, it is very difficult. We need to understand, you can't share your personal experience straight away with anybody. It's very difficult. He says, if somebody straight away comes and asks you about your personal life, you can't share it. Only if he becomes intimate, or if you become intimate with him, it will be possible to open up. Only then that conversation can happen. See, for a conversation to happen, you need certain intimacy. If both are filled with their side arguments, never the conversation will happen. If both are filled with some words in their mind, if both are prejudiced, never the conversation can happen. I always tell people, in marriage, first year man speaks and women listens, second year onwards women speaks and man listens, third year both of them speak and neighbors listen. In the first year man speaks and women listens, the second year women speaks and man listens, third year both of them speak and neighbors listen. Never the conversation happens. Only arguments goes on. As long as the other person is in the mood of argument, the truth cannot be shared. The satya cannot be shared. Satya can never be expressed. He says, it is my personal relationship. It is my intimate relationship with God. How can I share that to public? I cannot. Then one disciple asks, who thinks himself as intelligent, he comes out and asks, why? You share with us? When you can share with us, why not with the world? Then he says, by becoming a disciple, you have become part of me. Only a person who has become part of me can share these poems. Only to him I can share these poems. Physically you may be another one body, but mentally you have fallen in tune with me. You are completely ready to receive me. You have become like a womb, ready to receive the divine energy. That is the reason I shared my experience with you. Unless you enter into the deep receptive mood, unless you become a complete, total, simple, innocent being, you cannot receive the ultimate truth. Please be very clear. The ultimate truth is beyond logic. Initially, when we start teaching the truth, always it starts with logic. Always your logic is addressed. Words go logically. But after some time, you have to leave the logic behind. You have to leave the logic behind. You can't talk to the divine. You can't talk to God in logic. In prose, you cannot relate. Only in poetry you can relate with God. That is why all over the world, whenever it comes to prayer, it is only songs, poems. Whether it is Eastern culture or Western culture or any culture, whether Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism or any Christianity or any religion, when it comes to relating with God, it is always poetry. Because you can't relate with divine logically. You can't relate with divine through logic. Prose is not useful anymore to relate with divine. If you want the divine relationship to happen, you need the love. You need the language of poetry. Here, only a person who understands, only a person who has become part of the master, only he can receive his experiences. That is the reason Master says, I share my songs with you because you have become me. I cannot share this with public. There is another one great saint called Manikyavasakar. Throughout his life he sang about Shiva, but he never wrote, he never recorded the poem. It is only sung. It is just repeated by him, but never he recorded it. Manikyavasakar never wrote his poems. He always used to recite, that's all. Once Shiva himself comes down as an old man and he says, "Oh Manikyavasaka, I heard that you used to sing beautiful songs on Shiva. Why don't you recite them for me? I am your disciple." Manikyavasaka is in ecstasy. So in that ecstasy he starts singing everything. He himself records the whole thing. Shiva himself records, puts the songs in writing, and after recording he puts a signature. Recited by Manikyavasaka, written by Ambalavanand, the Shiva himself, and puts the leaf at the feet of, at the entrance of the temple and disappears. Next day morning the priests see the leaves. Suddenly they realize the signature says, Manikyavasaka recited, I myself recorded this. Till the end, till his death, he never recorded. Then all the disciples go and ask him, "Oh Master, please give us the meaning. Please explain the meaning for all these songs." And he straightaway walks into the temple and says, he is the meaning for the whole song. He shows the Lord and says he is the meaning, and walks into the deity and disappears into the God, into the divine. Beautiful symbolic representation. This story is a beautiful symbolic representation. He becomes one with the divine. Till the end, he never recorded. Only somebody else recorded. It is so beautiful. God himself came down and recorded. Unless you become part of the master, it is very difficult to understand his message. That is why Krishna says, Arjuna, the supreme science, the technique of entering into the eternal bliss is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend. You are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. It cannot be told to the person who is not ready. And one more thing, when you speak the ultimate truth to the person who is not ready, it leads to many troubles. Not only he doesn't understand, and he starts creating trouble for others. With the right person, even lie will do good to the society. In the wrong hands, even truth will do harm to the society. To whom it is delivered is important than how much it is truth or lie. With the wrong person, even a great truth like a Advaita, I am God, he may start thinking that I am God and start doing all nonsense. With the wrong person, even a great truth will become harmful thing. And one more thing, a wrong person can never understand the truth told by Krishna. For example, Krishna says, I am God, I am everything, surrender unto me. If a person is not completely devoted, if the person is not in tune with Krishna, if he has not understood Krishna, what he will think? How egoistic fellow he is. How dare he is telling me to surrender to him. Naturally, the person, instead of understanding Krishna, will create more trouble for Krishna. He will create only more trouble for Krishna. Here, the qualification to receive the truth is devotion. Here he says, if you have heard all these things, what I expressed in the other 3 chapters, it's okay because it is expressed logically. Till this point, I am able to bring logic and spirituality both together. Now, the time has come where I have to give the pure truth as truth. Please be very clear. Great things can never be expressed by logic, because logic is not so sharp. Logic is not so sharp to express the ultimate truth. Somebody asked me, Swamiji, why don't you prove God logically? I told him, if God can be proved logically, then logic will become God. Logic will be greater than God. God is great because he cannot be proved by logic. He is beyond logic. He is beyond your logic. Here, Krishna is going to speak something which is beyond logic, where you need to leave your logic behind, where you need to be completely open, where you need to sit with a total passive mood, where your being needs to be open to receive it. One thing, anything told logically, either you will understand or you will not understand. That's all. There is no danger. When it comes to the deeper level teachings, either you understand or you will misunderstand. The teachings which Krishna is going to deliver now, they are much more deeper, they are much more subtler than the teachings which is delivered in last 2-3 chapters. That is why he says, now I am telling you these secrets just because you are my devotee and friend. Just because you are my near and dear one. You are my own. That is the reason. Bhaktosi. He says, you are my devotee. Me sagacheti. And you are my friend. Saka, friend. That is the reason I am expressing this truth to you. A person who is not completely in tune with Krishna, the person who is not ready to trust the master, he cannot receive the message. He cannot understand it. And not only he will not understand, he will misunderstand. Misunderstanding always leads to complications. Small story. Mother Superior, she was giving her farewell speech to a group of students who are leaving the school, higher secondary students. She is giving all her advices and teachings. Then she is asking one by one the higher secondary school students. One by one she is asking, "Dear, what will you do after leaving the school?" One says, "I will become a nurse and start serving in our mission hospital." She says, "That is great." Next girl, she asks the next girl, "What will you do?" "I will become a nun and spread the mission of the divine, mission of God." She says, "That's great. I am so happy. I am proud of you." She asks the third girl. Third girl says, "I will become prostitute." The Mother Superior is totally shaken. She just faints and falls, drops. Somehow they sprinkle little water, they revive her, and she slowly out. She asks, "What did you say? What did you say?" "Prostitute." Then she throws a big sigh of relief. "Oh, I heard Protestant." When you don't hear the words properly, you are always in trouble. She is ready. She is ready to allow the person to become prostitute, but not ready to allow the person to become Protestant. When you don't hear the word properly, you are always in trouble. Understand? Now Krishna is entering into the deeper level truths where you need to relax little from your logic, where you need to come down from your head to the heart, where you need to sit with your whole being and listen the truth. And if these truths are heard without the complete openness, not only you will not understand, you will misunderstand. Misunderstanding these truths can lead to many complications. So Krishna gives a warning. Here Krishna gives warning. Ragasyam hedatuttamam. I am telling you these secrets, the mysterious science of realizing the ultimate, O my dear friend and devotee Arjuna. So now let us enter into the science which is taught by Krishna. Vasudeva sudham devam gamsachanuramardanam devagi paramanandam Krishnam vande jagadgurum. We are entering into the path of knowledge. The great truth which can straightaway transform your life just by a mere understanding. Just by a mere understanding. Understand? In Vedanta they always emphasize on three things. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana means listening. Manana means meditating, contemplating on it. Nididhyasana means expressing it in your life or experiencing it in your life. Here, these truths doesn't need these three steps. Just listening is enough. Just listening is enough, it will become experience. Shravana is enough, it will become nididhyasana. Nothing needs to be done, but all you need to do is sit with a complete open being, with a complete openness, with a complete relaxed feeling. These words are uttered for your sake, not for the sake of the master. So, just please take few minutes to meditate on the Sri Krishna, the great enlightened master, and pray to him. Let him allow his words to penetrate our being. Let him reside in our consciousness. Let him lead us to eternal bliss. Just take few minutes, close your eyes and intensely pray to him. O Master, lead us to that experience. Give us the understanding. Let him be in our inner space, enlightening our consciousness. Vasudevasudam devam gamsachanuramardanam devagi paramanandam krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam Kavibiriditam kalmashabhagam Shravanamangalam Srimadadadam Bhuvigrunandide Bhuridajana. Krishna starts his message. Here is a question by Arjuna, to which he responds. His message is delivered as a response to this question. Aparam bhavado janma param janma vivasvataha kadamedat vijaniyam Tvamadau proktavanidhi. Arjuna says, O Krishna, the sun god is Vivasvan, is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed these signs to him? This shows still Krishna needs to get mature. Still Krishna needs to have maturity. Still Arjuna needs to get the maturity. He is asking, the sun god is senior to you by birth. He is so senior. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed these signs to him? Arjuna and Krishna are almost equal in their age. Suddenly Krishna says, I gave these signs thousands of years ago to Surya. Very difficult to understand. And moreover, Arjuna lived with Krishna for a long time. He knows, he has seen the human side of Krishna, playing and all Krishna Leelas, all Krishna's dramas, all Krishna's moods. He has seen him more like a human being. So now, it is very difficult for Arjuna to believe the same exact trouble which all disciples undergo. Disciples who live around enlightened masters, the trouble which they undergo, the exact same trouble. Very difficult to understand the divine descending and walking in the planet Earth in a human form. The Arjuna is struggling to understand. Arjuna is not able to relate. How can divine descend? What is happening? How can Krishna declare, thousands of years ago, I gave these signs to Surya? It's very difficult. Suddenly, for example, I suddenly tell, 100 years ago, I only taught all these things to some enlightened master. How you will feel? Very difficult to grasp. Suddenly, if I make a statement, 100 years ago, I only taught all these things to the great masters who are there. Very difficult to believe. And naturally the question will rise. Here, the same thing. Arjuna is asking, how can you say this? How can I understand? But of course, he has become little polite. That is why he says, how can I understand? He doesn't say, how can you say this? In the first chapter, or in the second chapter, when Krishna is asking, Arjuna, go and fight, he is asking, how can you say this? How can you tell me to do this sin? But now here he says, he has become little polite. He understood the truth little bit. He has become little intelligent. He says, how can I understand? Please tell me. He is ready to believe, but he wants little explanation. This is okay. But there are few people who are prejudiced. They are clear. They say, no, we don't bother. We don't believe. We don't want. Then nothing can be done. Here Arjuna says, I am ready to believe, but how am I to understand? Please instruct me. Please show me the right thing. Always, when enlightened masters descend on the planet Earth, when they come down, they face this trouble. Again and again and again, they face this trouble. When Ramakrishna declared that who came as Rama, who came as Krishna, the same person has come down in this form as Ramakrishna. He was called as mad. He was called as mad. People did not receive him. People did not respect him. But there are few qualified people who received his words, who have transformed their lives. They established the truth of his statement. See, all philosophies or all movements, they start in two ways. One is the political movements, which starts with a huge crowd, huge followers. The person who leads, the more number of crowd, the more number of persons, more the quantity, more powerfully he feels, and he starts making all the statements, claims. These movements, they start with a huge number, but slowly, they disappear. Once the founder dies, the movement dies. The next, second time, the spiritual missions. When the masters declare the truth, the quantity will not be there, but the quality will be there. Only few individuals, few selected individuals listen those truth, listen those proclamations. When Ramakrishna declared, who came down as Rama, who came down as Krishna, is here in this body as Ramakrishna. Hardly few heard. Hardly few are ready to trust. But those few, the quantity may not be there, but the quality was there. They have transformed their life. And it started as a very slow, small thing, but expanded and exploded into an international mission, spiritual movement. When it started, only 16 disciples were there, Ramakrishna's disciples. And today, millions of people worship him as God. Millions of people have realized the truth of the words which he uttered. These spiritual missions, it starts in a very small way, but expands and explodes. These political movements, it starts in a very big way, but contracts and dies down. The moment founder dies, foundation also dies. But spiritual missions, the moment founder dies, it starts happening. It starts expanding. For a political speech, you need quantity. The more the number of people, the speech will be more strong. But for the spiritual discourse, you need quality. The more the person is intense, the more truths will come out. For political person, inspiration is numbers. How many paper cuttings, in how many newspapers a report has come, how many paper cuttings he can collect, that matters. For a spiritual person, how many ego cuttings he can do. For a political person, paper cutting. For a spiritual person, ego cutting. How many people are intense. The quality, that matters for a spiritual discourse. The more intense the person, more higher truths come out. More higher truths comes out. I always tell people, my best discourses are given only to a close small circle. The best truth is spoken only to a close small circle, because when you speak the truth, it will be straight. It cannot be received by a normal man. It will shake the whole being. It will transform your whole life. That is why Ramakrishna, whenever he wants to speak high truths, he will close the doors and call his sannyas disciples, and he will speak only to them. He will not speak to the public. This very Gita is delivered to only one person. To one person this is delivered when it is spoken. When Krishna delivered the Gita, only one person heard. But today, millions, billions, not even millions, billions. For whole Hindus, this is the basic book. For billions of Hindus, this is the scripture. Only one person heard. Today, the whole world uses it. So, to express the truth, the quality of the person is necessary, not the quantity. Now, he starts the answer to this question. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna tanyagam veda sarvani natvam vetta parandava. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna tanyagam veda sarvani natvam tavetta parandava. Bhagavan says, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O Partha, O Parandava, O Arjuna. O Arjuna, many births both of you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you can't. Next statement, he says, Ajo binasam Ajopi na sannavyayatma bhutanam ishvarobi san prakritim svamadhishtaya sambhavamyayatma mayaya. Ajopi sannavyayatma bhutanam ishvarobi san prakritim svamadhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. He says, although I am unborn, my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. He says, although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. I think this is the first statement. He declares his divinity. All this time, Krishna was playing only the role of Acharya, intellectually convincing the truth, intellectually giving the knowledge to Arjuna. First time, he opens up, he declares the truth about his nature. He shows the divinity of his nature. I think this is the point where Krishna starts speaking the ultimate truth as it is. Till then, I think he was a little shy to open up to Arjuna. When a disciple is not ready, you can't open up. You can't tell the truth. Now, the disciple is ready. So Krishna opens up. He says, Ajopi sannavyayatma bhutanam ishvaro visan prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. Although I am unborn and transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, here he says very clearly, Bhutanam Ishwaropi. I am the Lord of all the living entities. I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Three things we need to understand. First he says, I am unborn. I never take birth. I am unborn. I am the ultimate Parabrahma. I am the ultimate energy. Krishna clearly declares. I don't think anybody else has declared so clearly. Even Jesus says, I am the Son of the God. I am Son of the God. Here, Krishna straightaway declares the truth. Of course, it does not mean Jesus is not God, but his disciples are not matured enough to receive the truth, that's all. At one point he says, the Father and the Son is one and the same. At one point, maybe to some close disciple, he declares, the Father and the Son is one and the same. Please be very clear. When the disciple is mature, Master is understood. Here, straight away Krishna declares, I am unborn, Ajobi. I am unborn, eternal consciousness, eternal bliss. And my transcendental body never deteriorates. You can always relate with me. I never die. I am unborn and I never die. One important thing you should know, which never takes birth can never die. Which takes birth, only that can die. Here, Krishna declares, I never take birth and I never die. Although I am the Lord of all living entities, Bhutanam Ishvaro. Somebody asked me, Master, can dead masters teach us? Can we relate with the masters who left the body? Like Paramashivoham, Mahavatar Babaji, all of them. One person came and asked me, if I pray to them, can they show me path? Can they show me the truth? I told them, be very clear. Dead masters are not dead as you think. They are not dead. When they are alive, their presence had a body. When they are dead, their presence has no body, that's all. Having a body or not having a body is no way going to affect their presence. They are available to you always. They are eternally available to you. All you need is, you just need to turn towards them, that's all. They are eternally available. When they are with the physical body, their presence has got physical body. When they are no more, their presence has no physical body, that's all. But they are available always. They are alive. When it comes to normal being, he leaves the soul. When it comes to masters, they leave the body. The very word is different. For a normal person, soul leaves. We say the soul left, or he leaves the soul. He dies. The life has left him. We say, for masters, they leave the body. So having a body or not having a body is no way connected to their presence. They are available to the planet Earth always. Always they are available to the whole humanity. I always tell people, it is very difficult to understand masters. Because when they have the body or not, when they don't have the body, both the time their presence is same. With intensity, if you go, even when they don't have the body, you will be able to relate with them. You can get the message. You will be able to talk to them. You will be able to relate with them. When you don't have intensity, sincerity, even if you meet the living master, you will miss him. With sincerity, even with the dead master, you will be able to have the truth. You will be able to achieve it. Without sincerity, even with the living master, you will miss it. You will miss it. Sometimes you will miss it. Understand? He says, I am the Lord of all the entities, but I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Sambhavami Atma Mayaya, taking my own Maya. Because of my Maya, I assume the body and come down. I assume the body and incarnate myself. He means he happens on the planet Earth again and again in so many forms to guide the people. But again and again we miss him. We are all conquerors of Buddha, conquerors of Krishna. We have conquered Ramakrishna. That is why we are here again on the planet Earth. Please be very clear. We conquer them. We conquer Ramana Maharishi. We conquer Ramakrishna. Even they can't do anything to us. That is why again and again we are here. We are here. Again and again we miss them. That is why again and again he has to come down. He has to come down again and again to the planet Earth to lift us, to show us the way, to guide us. The next statement, can say this one sloka, if it is understood, not only the whole Gita, all the spiritual scriptures can be realized. Here he declares, Yada yada hi dharmasya klanir bhavati bharata abhyudhanam adharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, there is a decline in spiritual dharma, there is a decline in the spiritual science. O Bharata, predominant rise of negativity happens. At that time, I dissent myself. Whenever there is a decline in positive consciousness, whenever there is a predominant rise in a collective negativity, again and again, at that time, I dissent myself. There is one more sloka which we need to understand. We will study about this sloka together. Next, Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chadushkritam dharma samsthavanarthaya sambhavami yuke yuke. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of spirituality, the eternal consciousness, I myself appear dharma samsthavanarthaya, to establish the dharma of the eternal consciousness, science of the eternal bliss. I myself appear millennium after millennium. Sambhavami yuke yuke. Only a master like Krishna can declare the truth so clearly. Here Krishna says, I come down again and again. He keeps the whole thing open for future. He keeps the generation of enlightened masters for future, the possibility of enlightenment for future. He keeps the whole science open for the whole future. Only a courageous man like Krishna can declare this truth. People come and ask me, Swamiji, are there many more enlightened masters in the planet Earth? I tell them, surely. There are hundreds of enlightened masters. Don't think I am the only one. There are hundreds. Hundreds and hundreds. I can say even thousands. Thousands of masters are available. Only a courageous man can declare the truth as it is. If you are on the business, you cannot accept there are some more shops in your city. If you are on any business, you cannot give the address of some more shops in the city. Only if you are honest, you can declare, yes, there are so many things available. There are so many things available. Again and again people ask me this question. Swamiji, if I take initiation from you, can I go to other masters? I tell them, not only you can go, I encourage you should go. Pluck flowers from all the beautiful garden and make a beautiful bouquet. Pluck flowers from all the garden and make a beautiful bouquet for yourself. And your ego is such, even if thousands of people beat, it will not die. How can you expect it to die by one person? How can you expect the ego to die by one blow? So go wherever it is possible and learn the best things. Pluck flowers from all the gardens and make a beautiful bouquet for yourself. Only a Krishna, a courageous person, can declare the truth. Sambhavami yuke yuke means he keeps the possibility open for the next generation. he keeps the possibility of enlightenment open for the planet Earth. This one single idea, if it is understood, straight away you will be liberated, enlightened. He says, the next sloka, Janma karma chame divyam yevam yoveti tatpataha tyakpa degam punarjanma naidi mamedi sorjuna. Translation goes, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains the eternal bliss. My nature, O Arjuna. It's a very strange statement. He says, one who understands the nature of my birth and death will be liberated from his birth and death cycle. How can it be? He says, if you understand my transcendental nature of birthlessness and deathlessness, just now he said, I am birthless and deathless. Ajobi, I am birthless. Just now he says, Ajobi san avyayatma, bhutanam ishwarobi san. He says, I am birthless and deathless. Now he says, if you understand the truth of my transcendental nature of appearance and activities, once you leave the body, you will not take birth and death. If you understand my transcendental nature, you will also achieve the same transcendental nature. If you understand that I don't take body, you will also realize you also don't take the body. If you understand I am liberated, you will realize you are also liberated. How can it